Andrew, any chance of a debutant this weekend in Bowen?
Yeah, Bo won't debut this week, so I can tell you that now. Played really well in the waffle last week, as many of you will have seen, but yeah, he's working hard at his craft and he's getting better, but it won't be this week.
What do you need to see from him to get him into the side?
Look, not much more than what he's doing. It's just about opportunity now when that opportunity comes up. And we just want to make sure he's really ready when he does get that chance.
And how did all the guys pull up? Obviously a super hot game, and then you've had a big heat wave this week as well.
Yeah, everyone's good. Look, we got a 7-day break, so training was well planned this week, well executed by our medical team and fitness team, and we're good to go.
Yeah, a few guys cramping. When you see that, what do you have to do in the following few days just to ensure that that doesn't lead to some sort of injury or anything like that?
Yeah, there was some cramping last week, but look, nothing different. It's just their normal recovery protocols that they go through. These guys, they're very finely tuned. They recover really quickly, so we're all good.
Speaking of their attacking end, they've got the three tools down there, we're assuming at the moment, probably Voss, Amos and Tracy. You look at your side, you don't have really the tall defensive stocks to cover all those. Does that someone like a Ruben Jinby have to then step up and play a bit taller?
Yeah, I've spoken about this before, that we're fortunate with someone like Ruben and even Hoffy to another degree, that they're capable of playing tall and small. Most teams have three forwards in their team. It's just how often they're on the ground at the same time. So we'll have matchups capable of being able to play on those guys.
Andrew, what about yourself? Have you found your first derby week, and have you noticed anything different? Have you been stopped in the street, or any advice, or how has it sort of been for you?
It's funny. Being a Victorian, I haven't been involved obviously in a derby before, but on Tuesday in our match review, I actually said something like, "Can't wait for this week, but it's just another game." And Yowie came straight up to me afterwards and just said, "No, it's not another game." So on a steep learning curve there, but our players are super excited. There's definitely a certain feel that's different with playing Freo in a derby, our home game, and I can't wait to see the crowd there on Sunday, see the excitement in the people, and really looking forward to it.
How did you do it from an outsider before becoming coach?
Yeah, it's funny, like even the showdown in Adelaide, like I've never been involved in clubs that have had these games. Maybe the closest one was Anzac Day Eve when I was working at the Tigers, and that was a special game. I think, honestly, we're just lucky to play in these games. It's good practice to play. It's a bigger game. It's still worth 4 points, but it creates a bit of that finals-like feel, I'm assuming. And they're the type of games that we want to play in, so we're fortunate to get the opportunity to do that.
With a young squad though, how do you ensure that they don't get too carried away with the moment early on and maybe burn out a bit too much energy from that first bounce and they have that big impact? Yeah, look, that's part of it every week as well. Like our players we want to start every game really fiercely. So there was, I think there's some mature guys in our group that have played in a fair few derbies over the years, so we'll discuss that over the next day, what it looks like as a group, and we'll plan to start really well. Andrew, you said that you're okay with the 7-day break after the heat, but your two rucks in Archer and Bailey were clearly feeling the effects. Is that Flynn and Jack Williams, are they going to come in, and how do you look to try and curtail a pretty rampant Luke Jackson at the moment? Yeah, look, Jackson's an incredible player. There's no question about that. So we'll have plans around that. But it was like not ideal to lose our two rucks last week. Poor old Rubes had to go in there, and I'm not sure we quite prepped him for the centre bounce when the knee nearly went straight through his chest. But yeah, we've got some plans around that, and we'll work through them further as the next 24 hours. But yeah, it's a big part of the game. You know, Freo are so strong at their clearance game at their best, and we understand that we've got to get that part right.
On that, Jake Graham's obviously coming to the extended squad. What does that mean for Liam Baker and his midfield role last week? Jack will play, which is great. Really important part to our team, and with Liam, having known Liam for a while, he's so versatile. Already we've played him in two positions in 2 weeks, but he really got used to that over the last few years of his career at the Tigers. So as a coach, you're really fortunate to have players where you can just move where the game needs them, and we'll continue to do that with Bakes. And Brady Hoff, has he been struggling with a bit of illness this week?
Yeah, Hoffy's all good. He's fine to go.
Andrew, do you know what it was in Harley's explanation that fell short of, I guess, acquitting him?
Oh, no, I didn't deal with that, to be honest. We had people looking after that. So, that's all been dealt with now, and we'll move on.
Is that the league trying to bash the theatre out of the game?
No, look, we don't condone Harley's actions. It's not ideal, that part of it, but we know how good a person Harley is, and we're putting some really good support plans around him and ensuring that he's going to be a great teammate for many years to come. So that's our focus with Harley.
How's he been holding up? There just seems to be so much focus on him and so much conversation.
Has there? I haven't really noticed. It's fascinating to see it because I've never seen a 19-year-old in this scenario, but he's got a really strong support network around him. He's a balanced, humble kid, and he's been good. He's doing okay. So he's preparing to play and be another great teammate this week.
And Minnie, on the flip side, Josh Tracy has been described as the alpha male of Freo's forward line. How tough a task is it trying to stop a player like him?
Yeah, competitive key forwards are hard to stop, but we've got some competitive key backs, and they're really proud players, so we can't wait for that matchup.
And Minnie, there's always talk, do you tag Strong, do you not tag? What are you thinking at this stage?
Yeah, it's certainly been on our minds all week. We'll have plans, for sure. You have to. But there's also some other pretty good players for the Dockers. So, we'll see where those plans land from a matchup point of view. But it's always the sum of the parts. There's lots of things you can change as coaches during a game if things get away from you. So, but we'll have some plans around some of their players for sure.
What's your philosophy in general on taggers?
If you need to tag, you tag, and if you don't, you don't. Historically, I was a tagger, remember? I was a scrappy little tagger myself, so I probably should be employed a bit more. But I think that it's just horses for courses. Sometimes you really need it, and the game requires you to do it. And sometimes it maybe takes away a bit too much from your system. So I want to be really open to both scenarios of being able to use one and not.
And coming into the West Coast group, was there a play that stood out where you thought that he's going to be a good target?
Good question. Probably not from in particular. I think we've got some guys capable of doing it, but there's probably not one in particular that I'm thinking.
I know you spoke about system, Andrew, last week, and we were all talking about this quick game plan, but your ability to defend the ground last week at the Gabba was really noticeable, especially in the first half. Is that something you were impressed with, and is that something you're tweaking to try and make sure it works really well at Optus?
Yeah, it's interesting defending the ground because this game's so linked between the phases of the game that it's not just you've got to get your offense right to be able to defend. You've got to get your contest method right to get the shape of the ground right. So there's so many phases involved in it. But for 2 quarters or just under 2 quarters last week, we did a lot right. There were some things in our game that we really went to work on again during this week because we didn't get them right. It's no surprise we won't be a finished product yet 2 weeks in. But there's some excitement around how we played last week with just some tweaks from the week before, which is good. There's obviously plenty of work to do still.
Andrew, obviously your side is young and developing still, but how important is it to back up that performance against Brisbane this week to keep taking those steps in the right direction?
Yeah, we'll back up the performance. We did lose. We didn't get it done in terms of the result we were chasing. So it's not backing up the performance, it's improving the performance that we're trying to do each week. And that's part of AFL footy. You need to keep getting better, and the challenge is different because we're playing a different team in a different state on a different ground. But as I said, there were some things in our game we got right last week, which we improved on, and some things that we went to work on during the week, which is hopefully we see the results of that this weekend.
Did either of you guys catch up with Chad Warner this week? No, he was hanging around for a few days.
No.
You sure?
And a bit of a random question for both of you. How much have you both had to do with each other over the years, and how would you characterise your relationship?
It's been awesome so far. We met 20 seconds ago. No, honestly, we haven't met before. We know people in common. Small world, the footy world, but we literally met outside the door before.